Hello and welcome back to Beyond This, the podcast that talks grounded spirituality for everyday life. If we haven't met before, my name is Matilda and I am a professional psychic medium and spiritual coach living here in Victoria, Australia. So I want to talk about something today that might surprise you coming from me. And look, I thought about whether to do this, whether it was my place, or whether it fits the show. And then I thought, if not now, when? We're going to talk about politics. Kind of, but not really. We're going to talk about fear and about what happens when we specifically, we the spiritual community, check out of the conversation because we've decided it's too low vibe, too divisive, and too beneath us. Because I have something to say about that, and I think you all need to hear it. Last week, I did an episode on propaganda and how it works, not just in the spiritual community, but in the political community, in the everyday community. What it's designed to do to your nervous system, how it hijacks your discernment, and today is the follow-on. Today, we talk about what propaganda is actually building forward and what it means for us, all of us, not just Americans. I want to start with a feeling. You know the feeling when something scary almost happens and then it doesn't? That release. The exhale. That exhale is one of the most dangerous moments a person or a country can experience because the moment you exhale, you stop watching. Here's what I mean. In Australia, we just had an election in May 2025. Labor won in a historic landslide. Albanese got his second term with the biggest seat count for any single party in Australian history. Peter Dutton, who had been running what I can only describe as a Trump cosplay campaign, didn't just lose, he lost his own seat, the seat he'd held for over 20 years. And Australians exhaled. We said, we're not America, we saw through it, we're fine. And I want to sit with that for a second, because on one hand, yes, that was a significant rejection of a particular style of politics. That matters. That means something. But here's what's underneath, quietly underneath, that exhale. One nation. And if you're outside Australia, this is Pauline Hanson's far-right party. They've been around since the 90s, anti-immigration nationalists. The full suite. One Nation has spent 2026 polling at numbers nobody has ever seen from them before. In South Australia's state election in March this year, they pulled 23% of the primary vote. 23% for a state election, for a party that the mainstream kept writing off. They just won a federal by-election in Farah, and I can't say that correctly, I apologise, the first time a One Nation candidate has ever been elected to the House of Representatives. Barnaby Joyce. Barnaby fucking Joyce. A former Deputy Prime Minister of this country defected to them. Gina Rinehart, Australia's richest person, is now funding them. So we exhaled. And while we were exhaling, something was consolidating. Now let's look at the UK, another weekend of historic happenings. Labor won their own historic landslide in July 2024, biggest majority in decades. And this week, Literally this week, as I'm recording this, Nigel Farage's Reform Party just disseminated Labour in local elections. Labour lost over 1,300 council seats and control over 35 councils in a single night. Reform gained over 1,400 seats. They took their first London council. They're now the dominant right-wing force in British politics. Same pattern. Landslide for the left or centre left, collective exhale, and then quietly in the background, the right doesn't go away. It reorganises, it gets smarter, and it gets angrier, and it gets funded. And America, well, you already know America is what happens at the end of that story. If nobody wakes up in the middle of it, the exhale is the danger zone. I want to talk about spiritual bypassing and aligning yourself with the policies and belief systems that you stand by. America isn't the only country that should get involved in local elections. America isn't the only country that should get involved in the groundwork. I have watched in horror today actual assholes going onto Kelly Holiday's TikTok page. Now, for a start, his partner, Abby Chatfield, is very outspoken, and she made a couple of uncomfortable videos. Those uncomfortable videos were around the passing of Trump and the gun use and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Things that most people found funny at the time, given what was going on and the false flag events that have been happening in the United States around Trump. Okay, I'm not going to qualify what she did by saying she was right or she was wrong. What has happened now, and Abby is very political and very politically outspoken, and has made some really good videos in the last couple of days about people getting uncomfortable and getting involved. But Kelly Holiday, her partner, is a singer. He's the second part of Peking Duck, and I think this was a personal tour. I'm not sure. Sorry, Abby. Sorry, Kelly, if I have got this all mixed up. He had been on a North American tour. So he'd done a number of and he had done a number of performances in North America, gone into Canada, and then was refused entry to finish his tour through the United States. And everyone is going on Kelly's TikTok going, oh, it's Abby's fault. Abby's ruined his career. Abby this, Abby that, blah, 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 blah. We are a bee's dick in Australia from turning into America. You think that that can't happen to you? I will remind everyone that is here in Australia that I cancelled visiting the US and doing events in the US in January 2025 because I knew people were going to get stopped at border control. I knew they were going to control people. This isn't about somebody being let in or out of a country. This is about controlling somebody from performing. This is about not allowing people in America to experience different points of view. I have also said this a lot. If you are in America, get a VPN. We are getting a lot more information than you are. We're getting the truth and we're getting a lot more information, and you guys are missing out on it. This is what I want to bring home for this community specifically. I know some of you are going to be uncomfortable with this conversation. I know some of you follow me because this is a space that feels elevated, removed from the noise, and I respect that. I understand it. That is genuinely what I want to give you. But I want to name something that I think is happening in spiritual communities. And I say this with love because I see it in myself sometimes. It's called spiritual bypassing. The term was coined by a psychologist named John Wellwood back in the 80s. And what it means is using spiritual practice, meditation, and manifestation, high vibe thinking, whatever your flavor is, to avoid dealing with things that are uncomfortable, painful, messy, earthly. And one of the biggest things I see spiritual people bypassing is politics. Because here's the logic, right? My thoughts create my reality. I need to keep my vibration high. I don't want to feed energy to fear. I'm focusing on love right now. I'm focusing on love and light. And look, I understand the impulse, truly. When you've done the work to get yourself into a more peaceful place, the last thing you want is to drag yourself back into the mud of the news cycle. But here's the thing. Here's what I know from years of working with the dead. And I say that without a shred of irony. The dead are often more honest with me about the living than the living are with themselves. Fear doesn't go away because you don't look at it. That's not how energy works. That's not how consciousness works. What you don't look at doesn't cease to exist, it grows in the dark. And when an entire community of conscious, discerning, emotionally intelligent people decide that political reality is beneath their frequency, what happens? The only people left in the conversation are the ones operating entirely from fear. You don't get to build a high vibe world by vacating the conversation about what we're actually building. I want to say that again. You don't get to build a high vibe world by vacating the conversations about what world we are actually building. Spiritual awareness, real spiritual awareness, not the Instagram version, is not about rising above the material world. It's about being more present in it, more honest about it, more clear eyed about what is actually happening versus what we wish were happening. And right now, what is actually happening is that fear is being weaponized deliberately, systematically, and at scale. Last week, I talked about propaganda, how it works, the mechanics of it. Today, I want to talk about why underneath and the how. Propaganda works because fear is a frequency. And I mean that both literally and metaphorically. Literally, when you are in a fear state, your nervous system shuts down higher order thinking. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for nuance, empathy, long term thinking, goes offline. You become reactive. You become tribal. You stop being able to tell the difference between a real threat and a manufactured one. And metaphorically, fear is contagious in a way that very few other human experiences are. It spreads, it resonates. You can feel it in a room before anyone says a word. This is why authoritarian political movements have always, without exception, begun with fear. Not with policy, not with logic, but with fear. Find a group of people who feel economically insecure, culturally threatened, unheard, overlooked, and they are not wrong to feel those things. By the way, many of them have very real grievances. And then give them an enemy. Make the enemy vivid and specific and everywhere. Immigrants, minorities, the media, the elites, the alphabet people, whoever. Make them the cause of every bad feeling and watch what happens. What happens is that people stop thinking in terms of what is actually true and start thinking in terms of who is with me, who is against me. That's the switch. Once that switch flips, you can lead people almost anywhere. And here's what I want to say about and to this community specifically. We are not immune. I have watched people who describe themselves as deeply spiritual, deeply conscious, deeply committed to love fall completely into this pattern because the fear was packaged the right way, because it activated something real underneath the manufactured parts, because they were already exhausted and this gave them somewhere to put it. The discernment work, the real work, is not about staying in a bubble where nothing bad can reach you. It's about developing the capacity to feel fear without being controlled by it. To look at the things clearly and to say, is this real? Is this mine? Is this being handed to me deliberately? This is spiritual work. That is the work. I'm not asking you to become political activists. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I want to be really clear about that. What I'm asking is this. I'm asking you to stay awake. In Australia, stay awake. We didn't defeat anything in May 2025. We bought ourselves some time. And One Nation is using that time strategically. They are reaching into communities that feel left behind by both major parties, rural communities, working class communities, people who are genuinely struggling. And they are giving those people a story. It's not a true story, but it's a story with a clear villain and a clear hero. And it feels simple when everything feels complicated. That is not going to stop on its own. In the UK, stay awake. Keir Starmer won an extraordinary mandate barely 2 years ago. Reform UK just had one of the most significant nights any far-right party has had in British democratic history. That escalation happens fast. It can happen faster. And everywhere, I am asking you to notice when you are being asked to align your identity with a political position in a way that shuts down your thinking. Whether that's on the left or the right, when belonging to a group starts to feel more important than being honest about what you actually see, that is the most important. That is the moment to get curious, not defensive, but curious. Because here's what I know about the communities I work in: the spiritual community, the metaphysical community, the community of people who are genuinely trying to grow. We are not stupid. We are often extremely intuitive. We are often very good at reading underneath the surface of things. Those skills are needed right now in this conversation. I said this isn't political, and I mean that. This is about consciousness. This is about whether we are going to be present to the moment we are actually in, or whether we are going to float above it and call that enlightenment. The world is not going to be okay because we meditated. It is going to have a better chance of being okay because we meditated and then opened our eyes. I am incredibly blessed because I am able to merge my doctorate in behavioral economics together with my mediumship work. It gives me a sense of understanding as to why people lean one way, lean another, lean in, lean out, and what drives that. But I want to close the main part of today's episode with something I genuinely believe. The people I communicate with, the ones who have passed, the ones who come through in readings, in the work I do, they are not indifferent to what happens here. That is a myth. The idea that spirit is removed from the material world, floating somewhere perfect and unbothered, that is not my experience, not even close. What I encountered again and again is love that is urgent. love that wants to reach through, love that is deeply, deeply invested in what the people left behind choose to do with the time they have. The dead know something we sometimes forget, that this life, this moment, this very strange and painful and beautiful chaotic world is not a waiting room. It is the thing. This is it. And what happens here matters. The choices we make here matter. The conversations we are willing to have or not have here, they matter. So if you are someone who has spent time developing your intuition, your awareness, your connection to something bigger, I am asking you to bring all of that here into this, not away from it. That is what I think we are all here to do. I'm going to do my Patreon shout outs now. And then talk about predictions. I'm sort of sat here on tenterhooks whilst I'm recording because I'm expecting news from Downing Street. That's one of my predictions, but it may not happen by the time I've finished recording. But I'm going to talk about my predictions that I see coming in and those I have made that have happened. And we're going to end, as always, on a meditation. All right. One shout out for Patreon new member, Rachel. Thank you very much. Oh, I think I may have put the wrong date in. Okay, let's reassess that because I think I got that wrong. Thought it was odd. Matilda needs a brain. And Patreon has gone dark on me. Oh, there we go. Okay. New Patreon members. Sorry about that. Rachel, you got a shout out. You'll get another one next week. We have Marcy, Bianca, Lena, and Stephanie. If you don't know about Patreon, please pop over and check out the link in my show notes. Patreon is a great place for more in-depth content. We talk about your connection with spirit. We have different levels. One of those being the Magnificent Manifestors, where we do have a WhatsApp chat that I've been very bad at keeping up with. We have different chats that I'm on live quite often. I'm hoping to go live tomorrow. I may go live tomorrow morning. Maybe. We'll see. I go live in the chats, keep people up to date with things. There are discounts to all my readings. There are early access. I have just released an event called the Alignment for June, where I'm going to talk about June predictions. We're going to do a meditation. We're going to work on our manifesting, and we're going to talk about what's coming up in June. Really cheap, kept it $27 because I think it is really important that we all have like a mid-year reset. So that's coming up. What else have we got coming up? I'm in Sydney next week. Very exciting events in Sydney that I'm going to. And I'm also doing in-person readings. If you are in Victoria, come along in August to my live event. You'll get to see me work. It's an in-person event, very, very small. It's about 100 people in the Langley Hall Chapel. It's going to be a great event. It's on a Saturday afternoon in August. It's a couple of hours from Melbourne. Come on, guys. You can do that drive to experience me in person. All right, let's talk about what else is coming up. Also, this weekend, you are running out of time to book your charts and channeling ticket. That is this Saturday night US time, $50 for the next 3 months worth of predictions. If you've seen Laurie and my charts and channeling event, you will know that we can go on for hours. And we are very, very accurate when we work together. If you are discombobulated by the noise in the background, it is Seamus. Seamus has been incredibly good today. He's just looked at me because I've used his name. This morning, I had to be up at Sparrow's Fart o'clock because I recorded with Alison Dubois this morning. I am a guest, or was a guest, on her podcast, and that was a great honour. And Seamus had to lie very quietly in the studio, and we had a long walk, but he has been a superstar today. I think he's a bit pissed because we haven't had an afternoon walk. I also want to talk about those people that reached out. I need to say thank you. So many people reached out after we were both attacked on our walk the other day. He is fine. I am fine. I finally got in to see the chiropractor today, and he fixed my back. That was an experience. But if you're in my Patreon, you know that was pretty dicey. Shayna's got quite a few puncture wounds. It knocked me off my feet. It came at my blind side. It was pretty awful. But I haven't sort of done an evening walk since then. But I'll get back to it. I will. So don't forget to book coffee, charts and channeling. That's this weekend. Then I'm off to Sydney. Laurie is currently in the UK. We haven't even touched base. She's that busy and catching up with her daughter. So I'm sure we'll touch base before that event. What else have we got? We've got the open circle at the end of the month, my newsletter, lots of things happening. I will be live from Sydney as well. I'm going to see Alison Dubois on the Saturday to attend her event on William Tyrrell because that fascinates me. If you don't know who Alison Dubois is, the TV show Medium was based on her life. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm also going to see Michelle Obama on Wednesday, as well as do lots and lots and lots of readings. There is still, I think, one, maybe two, maybe in-person readings available for Sydney. If not, you've missed out. My August readings are available. They have been going really fast, so there's not many available for August. You need to be quick around here. So let's talk about predictions. Let's talk about what I've seen coming in. I saw a vote of no confidence for Keir Starmer. That is happening as we speak. I think his days as Prime Minister are numbered. I talked about that in my year ahead, so in December 2026, and even probably before that. I also, listen, you guys have to speak up. You have to educate people. You have to talk to people because in Australia in particular, we are very, very close to some problems happening here because of politics, and it is not going to be pleasant. I really thought we would keep it at bay. But things are happening. The cruise ship that has the Hunter virus on, whew, I am not worried about it becoming a COVID-like situation, but I don't think that it is going to be a non-event. It was what I predicted. I found the video of me talking about the cruise ship being left out because people are sick, being left out at sea. I do have that, and I do need to make a video on that. I think we're going to know more when we get to July. Middle East, this could be the last couple of weeks of it. Okay. New predictions coming in. I feel like riots in the UK are about to kick off. I feel like heat in the UK is going to become a problem by the time we get to the end of June. If you haven't bought your fan, if you haven't bought your air conditioning, whatever you can do to keep yourself cool. If you live in a top apartment, if you've just moved in over the winter and it's been freezing, you're going to roast this summer. Get yourself sorted now before prices go up, before things become a problem. Here in Australia, I think we're going to see some floods kicking off. More earthquakes in the Philippines, earthquakes that I did predict the one that happened in the Philippines, but I think there's another one to come. I think that there's an earthquake to happen in Japan in the next couple of weeks. And I am concerned about a terror attack in Sydney. I feel like it's aimed at a certain religion. I don't think it's the Jewish community this time. but I do feel like it's based around a church, a synagogue, a mosque. I say synagogue, I am just saying a building of religion. There is going to be a shock come out of the White House when it comes to Trump. We're going to have a press release connected to his health. Might be that he has to take a break, or they're saying he's going to have a 2-week, he's got the flu. Something is made up. If we see that, it's worse than they're saying. I can guarantee you that. Problems with an internet provider globally. It could be Starlink. It could be Starlink that people are struggling to connect with Starlink or something very similar, but it feels like a rollout of internet outages and a more controlled something coming out of the Supreme Court that's going to shock. One of the Supreme Court members hospitalized, illness, something to do with hospital. All right, that's all I've got for this week. I want to take you into a meditation now because I just asked you a lot. And I think you deserve to be held for a few minutes. This one is a grounding meditation. Sometimes over the last couple of months, it's been really hard to ground. Coming back to center has been your easier option. But this one's about grounding. Because if there's one thing I know about everything I've just said is we need our feet on the earth. We need to feel anchored. We need to know that we can hold the weight of reality without being crushed by it. I want you to close your eyes if you're somewhere you can do that safely. Take a breath in and let it go. Again, breathe in and out. One more. Really let this one land in your body and out. Good. I want you to feel your feet. Just notice them. Whether they're on the floor, tucked under you, however they are bringing your attention there. Feel the weight of them, the temperature, the contact with whatever surface they are resting on. Your feet are your connection to the earth, literally and energetically. In every tradition I know of, the feet are where we root, where we receive and where we draw up stability from something that is older and slower and more enduring than anything happening in the news cycle this week. So just be with your feet for the moment. Now, I want you to imagine, and you can see this or just feel it, however works for you. Roots growing from the soles of your feet down through the earth, down through the floor, and down through whatever is beneath the floor, down through the foundation of the building into the soil. These roots go deep, past the topsoil, into the bedrock, into something ancient that has been here long before you were born and will be here long after. Something that does not panic, does not react, and does not scroll. Feel those roots now and feel them hold you. From this place, rooted, anchored, held, I want you to take stock of what's in your body, not to fix it, not to judge it, just notice it. Is there tension anywhere? Tightness? A sense of heaviness you've been carrying? Just let it be there. You don't have to solve it right now. Now bring your attention to your chest, to your heart space. And I want you to notice underneath whatever worry or overwhelm or exhaustion might be sitting there, there is something else, something that doesn't move in the same way the worry does, something quieter. That is you, the you that existed before all of this, the you that will exist after. Breathe into that place. From this rooted, centered place, I want to offer you a question, not to answer out loud, just to sit with. What is one true thing I can do? Not everything, not fix the whole world, not solve it. One true thing that might be a conversation. It might be a vote. It might be choosing not to share something on social media and you know is designed to make people afraid. It might be checking in on someone who is struggling. It might be staying awake and staying honest. Just one true thing. Breathe in and let the question settle somewhere in your body, not in your head. The head will immediately try to answer it. See if you can feel it somewhere lower, your chest, your gut, your feet. That's where the real answers live. Take a few more breaths now, as slow as you like. When you're ready, gently start by bringing your awareness back to the room. Feel the chair beneath you. Wiggle your fingers if you like. And take one more full breath. And when you open your eyes, bring the roots with you. You don't have to leave them there. You can walk around with them all day if you want. That's what grounding means. Not that you float above the difficult stuff, that you are anchored enough to stand in it. Thank you for being here today. Genuinely, I mean that. Your support means so much to me. If this episode moved something in you, please share, especially with Australians, especially with people who are feeling complacent right now, because complacency is the thing I'm most worried about. I'll be back next week. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. I am Matilda, and this is Beyond This.